Hey Terry, how are you today, my friend?
Oh, I'm pretty good, except for I'm a little stressed because I didn't check the scratches quick enough. So
Well, don't worry about it, Terry. There'll probably be a lot more because rain's coming. So I imagine our pick four tickets are going to get all mixed up as it is. Unfortunately, we didn't get any scratches yesterday, and we missed our pick fours. You were alive on the third leg because you had that real long shot in race number two with the one hit.
yeah,
So I was really pulling for the seven to get up past that two at the end.
yeah. But if you remember, I was talking yesterday about if I had more budget, would have used the two in there.
Well,
Yeah,
hopefully somebody did use the two after watching the show and with the scratch in there.
yeah, that's what I'm hoping. So yeah,
Yeah, that paid I think like $3,000 or something like that for those people who put the two in there.
yeah, I paid quite a bit, so it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was a nice one. Unfortunately, we are limited to our budget on the show, Terry.
Yeah, I know. I
So,
know.
well, we'll see if we can have a stress-free morning. Yeah, let's get started with something that's a little bit of fun, Terry. Have you ever heard of this before? This is the first time I've ever heard of it. Wild horse racing in Wyoming.
No, I've never heard of that. And I actually looked at YouTube today, watched one of them, so I saw what it was really about. And it looks like,
What did you see?
well, most of the people never did get the horses saddled. I only saw about three getting the horses saddled, and then two of them got on the horse, and right away they went about halfway to where they're supposed to go, and they were bucked off. The third one got on the horse, and as soon as he got on the horse, the saddle fell off, so he fell off.
So it almost
So
sounds like a Blazing Saddles skit from
it
back in the
was,
day with Mel
yeah.
Brooks. Uh-huh.
The only thing I was thinking though is that it's probably pretty darn stressful for the horse, and the guys could get hurt pretty easily, and I just wonder you know how uh, how it doesn't get a lot of negative reviews. So
Mm.
you
Well, I
know,
mean, at some point they have to break the horse anyway, right? I mean, they send them off to farms to be broken because horses aren't
yeah,
naturally ones to be ridden on. I find it funny. One of the guys says that you get up, you do this, and sometimes you forget to breathe. And another guy said, "Well, I switched from one position from what do they call them, like a mugger and a I forget what the other ones were, a mugger and
a shanker.
a shanker and a rider, a mugger, a shanker, and a rider." And he said he switched from the mugger to the shanker because the mugger gets kicked too many times. So I've
Yeah,
been kicked like 12 times as a mugger, but only once as a shanker.
yeah. He said he did that because he's getting too old to be kicked that many times. So,
Well,
so
I have a marriage joke in there, but I'll let it go
oh, okay.
for sure, right?
Yep.
But it
That's
sounds like
great.
something that would be interesting. It's like a Mel Brooks type thing. It's I've never heard of it before, so when I saw that, I was like, this is kind of interesting. It's something different. It's nice to talk about some lighthearted things in horse racing, especially since we're about to get back to some of the more business side of it, I guess, or the more contentious parts of horse racing. And we're going to go back to Louisiana and the Horse Racing Integrity and Safety Act. Our Frisco Bash did a little work into this, and I think this is going to be the next real big topic in horse racing, is what's going to happen with this lawsuit. It seems to me a lot of folks in the horse racing industry want it. I think Mike Maker in Frisco Bash Story said this is ridiculous. He says that, just make sure I got the right trainer here. I don't want to give somebody a quote that doesn't get the quote.
Right.
Yeah, Mark Cass, I'm sorry, says this is ridiculous that they're going to get rid of this thing. They're trying to clean up the sport. I could tell you one thing, that if they don't pass this, this is going to be sort of like the end of horse racing, just to kind of paraphrase. I don't know that it'll be the end of horse racing. To
No.
me, I think about a couple different sports where you had a similar type thing, not different, but similar in ways. One, it was fractured. So each state sets its own rules, which I understand. A UFC used to kind of be like that, where it was fractured. You had a bunch of different fighting divisions, and Dana White took over, and it made it a much stronger business for sure. And also the WWE. A lot of folks who aren't older like you and I, Terry, don't remember at one point the WWE. You had Northeast wrestlers and Southeast wrestlers and West Coast, and they're all different they're run by different organizations, and then Vince McMahon took over and brought all of them together under one roof and created a better product. So I think what the horse racing people are looking for is to create a better product, but the states want to make sure they don't give up their rights.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think they should work together and come up with some kind of a compromise. But we do need this Horse Racing Integrity Safety Act. I really believe we do, because of all the problems in the past. And maybe they can work together and get something that they can all agree on. So,
in some respects, I understand both arguments, right? But the one argument I agree with the folks who say that when government gets involved, it doesn't necessarily make things better. I don't have to point any farther than the Board of Education, right? When I think it was Nixon that created the education secretary and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that education's gotten any better since Nixon created the Board of Education. What do you?
No, I think it's gotten worse, to tell you the truth.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think it helped at all.
And their idea was to send, to kind of have a uniform education from sea to shining sea, from the Mexican to the Canadian border, out in Alaska, up in down in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And it hasn't served this purpose. So I can't think of, going to the DMV to get my driver's license and stuff like that. I can't imagine. I can't think of too many things the government does better than the private sector.
Yeah, the government doesn't do better. The private sector does much better on everything it does. The government usually, if it was a regular company, would be bankrupt in everything it tries to do because it spends and wastes too much money and has too much red tape, everything like that. It's just like when I used to do projects with my company, construction projects, I hated to do government jobs because there was so much red tape and so many things to jump through and loops that made no difference at all and very expensive, made the jobs very expensive. And as taxpayers, we're paying a lot of money, a lot of extra money for things that aren't really required.
Yeah, I was driving by yesterday on the highway and there's construction and everybody can relate to this story. Three guys standing around, one guy working, right?
Yeah.
One person working. It's kind of funny to me. All right, enough of politics, Terry. I do think that there has to be some uniformity. I agree that, a horse running in California, the rules shouldn't be much different than so if you ship that horse to New York, it shouldn't require a completely different regiment to run in New York as it does to run in California. So some uniformity in rules and allowing the states to keep the money, I think that's the way it should work. All right, Terry, now we're going to move on to how other people can make money. As always, our daily feature, your best bet of the day. Terry, how did your best bet of the day do yesterday?
Well, unfortunately, my bitten again by the scratch gods. My top pick and my second pick were both scratched. And my third pick, Kinsasarla, ran second. So today I went with Saratoga's sixth race. And again, I was bitten by the scratched people. My third pick was scratched. But you still
got the first two, so
I do.
Let's bring one of those home today.
Yeah, number 6. Let's Be Clear ran a good second at herd debate, and only lost by a head and received the best dirt speed among today's starter. Actually, it was a tie, and she has a good trainer jockey combination of Brad Cox and Tyler Glafleon. Now, Brad Cox in the last 14 days with 8 mounts has 3 wins, a second, and 2/3. And I like number 10, Take the Back Roads. Was off slow in her first race, but still ran third, missing only by a neck. She switches to a high percent jockey, and she had the highest last speed rating. Again, it was a tie last race. So that's my picks.
All right, so we're going to go now to the stress-causing pick fours. No question, with a lot of late scratches and so forth, Terry and I were texting back and forth. This horse is in the race. This horse is not in the race. Who do you want? And then, of course, the clock is ticking towards 12 o'clock, and I'm trying to put everything together and get all the colors right and make everything look pretty so that we can go ahead and hit a pick 4. So Terry's kind of like hot dog today. He didn't really go too big. And I know that's not really Terry's style, so maybe we can Terry can send me some of his prime rib picks later on, and I'll post them up on the site in case there's some horses he wanted to add, because we were really under the gun today. But let's start with the hot dog pick 4, our favorite hot dog pick 4. Terry's at $18. I am at wait. I think my math is wrong there, so forget those numbers because I'm not allowed to go over 24. I know mine is 16. And Terry's is 2, 6, 12, 24. Terry's is 12, and mine is 16. So forget that math, folks. That math is bad.
Yeah, that's true. So anyway, so for the hot dog one, I have, of course, the 11 and the 12 in the first leg. And the 11 has a trainer that wins 29% of the time when he brings back a beaten favorite. This horse, Moon Chia, ran second on the dirt in her last race. And then number 12, Fast Getaway. It has a high percentage jockey and trainer. Has a 40% trainer has a 40% winners when he puts blinkers back on the horse, and the horse probably will improve with the blinkers today. Then in the next leg, I have the 1, 11, and 12. Let's see here. Oh, I'm in the wrong race there. I was in the wrong race to start with. All right.
So race 7, you have the 11 and the 12.
Yes.
And then in race 8, you have the 1A, the 11, and the 12.
Right. And so the 1A, I've already talked about the 11 and the 12. The 1 is the 1A and is Brock's Bomber. It has a highest last race speed rating is 24% trainer on beaten favorites, and finished third on the dirt in last race. I also was discretionary March. Was she scratched or not?
Which one?
The one, the actual one.
I'm not 100% sure right now. Let me look and see. In race number, we were at race number 8.
Yes.
I don't think the 1. I think both the 1 and the 1A are in the race. Last time I looked.
Well, the 1 is my top choice. It switches to a high percent jockey, and it can improve at a shorter distance. Mm-hmm. And in the 9th race, I like the 2 and the 3. 4 has a Diora, has a high percent trainer, has a highest last speed rating, and 1 last race out at Aqueduct in a grade 3. And then number 3, which is highest honors, it has a high percent jockey, and whenever the trainer wins 27% of the time when he brings back a horse that won its last race. Then in the last leg, I like the 1, 9, and 11. And the 1 has a highest percent jockey, high percent jockey, ran second versus similar in the last race, has a really sharp workout July 16th. Number 9 figures to improve while returning to the turf, and it may improve because it's a shorter distance. And then the number 11, Boom Boom Kaboom. I like that name. 30% trainer when he goes from a sprint to a sprint, and he's eligible to improve on the 3rd start after a layoff. He may improve because he's returning to a sprint, and his best turf speed is close to the average winning speed. He has a sharp workout on July 13th.
Tom Corley asks us about, he says he understands the stats about blinkers, but how much you guys take a look at beaten favorites? Says he doesn't really consider it because the odds are set by the public. And, yesterday we talked about me being an accountant with Excel and being big on numbers and reading a lot of studies and stuff, kind of nerdy with numbers, I guess, unfortunately. And one of the things that I've done is I've looked at people who've studied all of this stuff. And again, we talked yesterday about all these angles that hit at over 15%. And the reason I picked 15%, I could have picked any number that you want. But if the average field is about 7.7 horses, so you just round up to 8, just mathematically speaking, any horse in an 8-horse field has a 12% chance to win, right? Not considering whether they're their jockey, their trainer, anything else, just from a pure math standpoint. a 12% to win. So anything that wins above 12% in the stock market world, they call that alpha. So if the market gives you a 12% return and you make 11%, you're actually underperforming, although you made 11%. If you make a 12% in a 12% market, well, that's you're just performing with the market. You added absolutely no value. So in an 8-horse field, 12.5% chance for every horse to win. So anything that wins above 12.5%, any angle that wins above 12.5%, actually creates value for the bettor. In other words, it hits at a higher rate than it should statistically. So I went with 15% to set the barrier a little bit higher. So I'm looking for every single angle that in the investment world would create alpha. That's why I went with 15%. And believe it or not, beaten favorites, because the fans do set the odds, hits it well over 15% from all the studies that I've seen. And, one thing about horse racing, we were talking about, government and stuff like that a little bit beyond, because it's pari-mutuel betting, it's kind of me versus Terry, and, the house takes his cut out, but it really is a reflection of the, what would you call, free market of that horse, right? So it's the information that I have, I'm making my decision. The information Terry has, he's making his decision. So every horse player is taking its information and they're making their decision. So you have to consider the odds then are a reflection of all of the information that's available to every single bettor out there. It's not a pure reflection, but it is a reflection of all the information. So the odds actually reflect every bit of information that's available to horse players. So I feel like the odds are a very good indicator of how that horse should run. And the numbers bear that out, because the public does pick the winner about 30% of the time, and it's much higher than any other horse. So yes, that's how I think about all of these numbers. I know it's kind of geeky and way off where people probably want to go, but that's my thought process. So
yeah, and I agree with that. That's pretty important to me. So,
thank you, Tom. I appreciate the insight. Most people look at me like I'm talking to them in some language from some third world, some third universe out there. All right, on to my picks. My hot dog pick. We'll go. I have, scratches really messed everything up for me. So the 2, this is one that I see having a lot of late pace. Should not be too far off. When you look at the race, early speed does win. You definitely want to be somewhere, probably mid. You don't want to be on the lead, but somewhere like 3rd, 4th, somewhere in there. So I like the 2. I like the 9. The 9 horse is one of the few horses in the field, along with the 14, whose last race speed figure was above par. The 12 horse was the beaten favorite. So for me, I like those 4 horses in race number 8, because I really feel like you're going to get some shots in these first 2 legs. The number 6 horse, he's got the best jockey and trainer combo. The 7 horse is a horse that ran really well last time out at Monmouth, up near the lead, stayed near the lead. And we talked a lot about Monmouth and no whip early on. So the 7 was able to get up to the front, stay on the front, and today with some urging might actually do a little better. And I have found that this angle has worked at other tracks where horses that have been near the lead at Monmouth and stayed on the lead at Monmouth were able to perform better. And you usually can catch a nice price on those horses too, because in most cases, the fractions are slower, much slower at Monmouth, and that's reflected in their speed number. And because their speed number now is diminished because the fractions are slower, when they get a little bit urging, it's almost inevitable that their speed number is going to bump. So keep an eye out for that angle when you're doing your handicapping as well. Then after the 7 horse, I have the 10 horse. This is a horse that should be real close to the pace, has the strongest late kick in the field, one of them anyway. And then finally, I wrapped it up with number 12. You got, again, a very solid jockey-trainer combo on the horse that has the best pedigree for the distance and the surface. Race number 9 comes down to the 2 horse and the 3 horse. Terry had them both. I singled one because I had to keep my ticket under $30. For me, the 3 horse is going to be in front of the 2 horse and has a better late pace figure. Already has a race this year, whereas the 2 horse will be making its first start off in this new campaign. A 4-year-old versus a 5-year-old. I'm going to give the advantage to the 3 horse with 1 race under its belt already this year. And then finally, in the last leg, there's so many scratches that I just ended up going with the 1 and the 3 to round it up because they were in my early picks. I like the 3 because last time out, he puts a major improvement on the track. Sometimes horses kind of like waddle along, and then they seem to find their stride. This is a horse that seems to have found its stride. And then with the 1 horse, you're kind of getting, I don't know if the 1A scratched in the last leg or not, but if it did not, then you're getting the 2-for-1 bargain, which can't hurt in the field. So that's my hot dog pick. And as you can see, I actually changed the values. I don't know if anybody caught that magic trick while we were talking. We made it look smooth, right, Terry?
Yes. Yeah, I saw you did that.
All right. All right. So now in Terry's prime rib pick, oh, did I put 2 hot dog picks in there? Oh, that's great. Now I got to go get the prime rib pick. Terry, hold on 1 second, folks, while I upload the prime rib pick because I thought I was being slick and I deleted the other hot dog pick when I was trying to delete the prime rib pick. Anyway, you know what I'm saying.
I do.
Here we go. Prime rib. So Terry only adds 1 horse in the prime rib. That's I think was the 9 horse in race number. Or was it the 11 horse? I think it's the 11 horse. No, you got 1, 9, 11 in the hot dog, and you have the 1, 3, 9, 11. So you added the 3 in the last leg.
Yes, and that's the only one I added. So let me go back here to the sheet here.
So it probably wasn't that Terry only wanted to add 1 horse. It's that Rich was putting a ton of pressure on him to go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Yeah, it was tough, I'll tell you. But anyway, I added the 3 in the last leg because it has a high percentage jockey. And it ran second versus similar on the dirt in the last race. It has a hot trainer jockey combination in the last 14 days. That combination has won 50% of the races that they have been involved with. In other words, 2 out of 4. So that's my prime rib. And I think I'm going to send some numbers to Rich that maybe he can add to it.
Yeah, we'll post them up at HorseRacingRadar.com. So make sure you check that out. Sean's putting his Buffalo Burger in with the benefit of all the scratches. So he's got the 9 through 12 in race 1. He's got every single horse I think that's running in race number 2. The 1, the 5, the 6, the 10, the 12. Should just all it, Sean. You have the 3 horse as your single in race number 9, pardon me, and then the 1, 3, 7, and 11 in race number 10 to close out his Buffalo Burger scratched out pick for today. For me, I added the 5 horse in race number 8. First time off the bench, first career start, just blasted out of the gate and faded. It was on Lasix the first time. It will be on Lasix again today. Many jockeys that we've talked to, trainers that we talked to, maybe some of you are listening who are in the business can comment on this, but a lot of them told us they like second-time Lasix better than they like first-time Lasix while they're using Lasix anyway. This horse did flash speed. I think the second time around, I like the speed and Lasix angle. I think if the second time Lasix works good for this horse, should have more stamina in race number 2. So the 5 horse could get out to the lead. He will be on the lead. The fractions last time were just blazing fast. He'll be on the front and could steal this race. I added the 2 in race number 9 is the only competition, I think, to the 3, especially with the scratches. That's a 2-horse race, and I hate the miss on the big ticket because I didn't put in the other one. And then finally, in race number 10, I had the 1, 3. So I added the 7, the 9, and the 11 to make it the perfect $100 ticket, Terry.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So hopefully we catch some shots in there and we can cash a big one today because that would only be I don't know what the right word is. It would be the right thing to do considering how much stress we had at the end putting it all together.
Yeah, and I'm hoping we do too. And I'm also hoping that, as we said, somebody added the 2 to my picks yesterday and hit that pick 4. So, and actually, I was looking at the pick 5. My horses were all scratched in the 4th race except for 1, and it ran second. But you could have went all in that race and then did the ticket adding the 2 because of the scratch in the last race. You would have hit the only ticket that had 5 out of 5 because they only paid on 4 out of 5.
So you could have taken the pool, a pool collector.
You could have, yeah.
I had one time, and I'm sure that everybody who's ever been to the track, has ever put a bet out there, has a similar story. But I think it was Balua Park on like some cold snowy afternoon. My friends and I went to lunch at the OTB here in Chicago, and I did a pick 4, and every single one of them on the board was this like this big number, right? The entire number. And then one of them was 4 of 5. So there was like 5 horses in the field. I had 4 of them. And the only one that was 4 out of 5 was the one I didn't have, right? Yeah. Guess which one won?
That one.
Yeah. That one. I would have pulled it if it had any other horse in there. So that, unfortunately, that's probably happened to way too many people, where you have every horse but one in the last leg, and you know for sure that horse is going to win.
Oh yeah, I did the same thing. I had all but one horse, and the one horse I didn't have was out of Australia, and that's been, I don't know, a year or 2 ago, and it paid really big, and I was just sick for a week. So
yeah, I know that feeling. Unfortunately, way too often. I haven't had it happen the other way, where I accidentally had a horse and it turns out to be a winner. It's so, or I mix up the number. I hit the 3 instead of the 2 or the 4. Yeah, it's never worked out for me.
Never for me either. So,
all right, Terry, tomorrow I think we'll be back with Arlington Park here in Chicagoland.
Yes.
I know it's not supposed to rain around here for the next couple of days, I don't think. So we shouldn't have such an issue with scratches tomorrow. And hopefully our picks will all be running tomorrow, and we won't have such a mad scramble at the end to put together what looked like a pretty seamless show for the most part.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad with all the problems we had. So I think it worked out. I got off on one race, but I don't know. Tomorrow will be better. I always have to work to be better. So
that's the name of the game. So Terry and I will be back tomorrow. And then tomorrow night, I don't know who our guest is. I don't think we have one yet, but we'll be doing our every week podcast, The Player's Edge, at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, follow us on Facebook or Twitter at Horseracing Radar. And then, of course, until we meet again, 23 hours and 30 minutes from now, everybody, good luck at the races.